pleased to have this opportunity to speak in this bill, H.R. 2227, the American Conservation, Clean Energy, and Independence Act. Mr. Chairman, it's with great pleasure to come before your subcommittee here with my colleague Neil Abercrombie and I. Thank you for your commitment in working so hard on this bill for so long. Our country is faced with several major crises. 1, not enough jobs. 2, too much deficit spending. 3, our energy money goes to fund terrorists at war against us. 4, increased demands for energy. And 5, the legacy of our industries that have left our land, air, and our waterways polluted. Our families, our farms, and factories need dependable energy sources to light our homes, power our industry, build our economy. We have plenty of energy sources here in America, from coal, nuclear, natural gas, wind, and solar. Trouble is, we haven't used them well or wisely, and we waste too much of them. America is also learning we have to have clean energy. We have a shared responsibility to be good stewards of the environment and to make sure we have these things for the next generations. Last year, Americans sent over $450 billion to foreign countries to buy oil. Some of this was used by our enemies to finance terrorist acts. Meanwhile, our government spent $136 billion to fight the war on terrorism. It's going to cost over $400 billion in the coming years to renovate our commercial buildings to make them more energy efficient. And currently, they waste about 40% of the energy they purchase. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology estimates it will cost between $12 and $14 billion in additional research money to develop carbon capture and sequestration for coal. From years of underinvestment, America has spent over $300 billion in backlog to clean up, or we have an over $300 billion backlog to clean up our dilapidated wastewater infrastructure system. All over America, EPA is telling small towns and cities they have to invest millions of dollars to fix their local problems. They don't have the money. The environmental restoration needs of our watersheds are staggering. $20 billion to fully restore the Great Lakes, $20 billion to clean up the Chesapeake Bay, $17 billion for the restoration of the Everglades, $5.3 billion to restore the habitats and ecosystems along the Mississippi, $1.5 billion to restore San Francisco Bay. These are some real needs that demand some real answers and, quite frankly, some real funding. Now, the estimates of America's offshore resources total more than 86 billion barrels of oil and 420 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. That's enough oil to replace oil imports from Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for the next 80 years, and enough clean natural gas to power America's industry for the next 63 years. Now, even with these lowball estimates, that are quite dated, this could lead to $2.2 trillion in additional federal revenue without raising taxes or any fees, using basically what is there now for leases and fees, to pay for our country's transition to clean energy future, restore America's environment, and ultimately make America energy independent. I might add to do so in a comprehensive way that does indeed include all the above. When we worked together to introduce this bill a few months ago, it was a group of Democrats and Republicans who met together, often in hidden rooms away while other people were having press conferences. We were rolling up our sleeves and doing work. There was no lobbyists in the room, no leadership members, just members dedicated to this hard work with really the broadest spectrum of political views that one can imagine as Congress. It is a plan that will create millions of new jobs, finance conservation, renewable energy development, and do so many other things. According to a recent analysis of the American Energy Alliance, exploration of America's offshore oil and natural gas will generate 1.2 million new annual jobs, $70 billion in more annual wages, and an additional $8 trillion in economic output in our nation. This legislation will dedicate the revenue from offshore oil and gas production to provide $440 billion to pay for the tax incentives for renewable energy and energy-efficient projects for solar, wind, biomass, landfill gas, trash combustion, hydropower, wave technology, flexible fuel vehicles, natural gas, compressed natural gas, liquefied natural gas, biodiesel, hydrogen, to make homes energy efficient, and provide incentives for residential alternative energy such as solar, fuel cell, geothermal, wind, and geothermal savings. It also has $220 billion dedicated to develop and deploy clean coal technology, including carbon capture and sequestration. The construction of each new advanced clean coal power plant will result in 13,000 construction job years, with average annual wages of over $55,000 a year, and operation supports of over 1,200 permanent jobs, with average annual wages of $65,000 or more. These are good-paying jobs for Americans. There's also $220 billion for environmental restoration, paying for the protection of Great Lakes, Chesapeake, Florida Everglades, Colorado, Mississippi River Basin, and so many other areas. This money will be used to reduce sediment erosion, restore natural habitat, save America's multi-billion-dollar fishing industry, and prevent invasive species from destroying ecosystems and shoreline restoration. There's also $110 billion to develop and deploy the next generation in mind, a single nuclear power plant requires approximately 400,000 cubic yards of concrete, 66,000 tons of steel, 44 miles of piping, 300 miles of electric wiring, and 130,000 electric components. An additional benefit, millions of tons of carbon will never enter the atmosphere. A nuclear plant employs 1,400 to 1,800 workers during construction on average, with peak employment as high as 2,400. A plant that is fully operational means 700 permanent jobs. There's also $110 billion for our clean water and wastewater infrastructure, helping to pay the $300 billion bill needed nationally for upgrades. This legislation provides communities across America a reliable, dedicated funding stream to solve this problem. And we know for every $1 billion invested in water infrastructure, 18,000 jobs are created. Every small town and big city in America needs this help, as they oftentimes come to us asking for that help. H.R. 2227 will bring about millions of new jobs, great paying jobs, jobs you can raise a family uncomfortably, jobs here in the USA, jobs that don't send money to foreign countries to use our dollars to build nuclear weapons or IEDs or fund terrorism. What we have to do in Washington, D.C. is stop playing politics with America's energy future and finally embrace a comprehensive, bipartisan approach to energy that includes investments in exploration, innovation, conservation, to unleash the vast potential of America's bountiful resources. These are priorities that will allow America to become energy independent, and it is the largest, most comprehensive investment in America's energy and environmental infrastructure in our nation's history. This is the Apollo project of our generation. Simply put, this legislation uses American resources to do 6 things. 1, cut our dependence on foreign oil. 2, clean up our air, land, and water. 3, dramatically improve energy efficiency and conservation. 4, create over 1 million new jobs.